Hey everyone, so I know I don't post too often these days just because I'm finishing up my last year of school and I need to give that a lot of my attention. With previous school years, I was able to actually post like every week and I only missed a couple weeks, but lately I just don't have that kind of stamina to do that. But I'm trying to do at least like one a month-ish, and I thought that it would be the perfect time to post now because today is my channel anniversary. Well, actually it's in a few days from me recording this right now, but the 15th is when I posted my first ever YouTube video, and I thought it would be cool to just kind of talk about the whole YouTube process and why I did YouTube and just like the whole story of me getting into YouTube and how that kind of launched my, I guess, career as an artist. And how that fits into everything else. It won't be like a super edited, concise point by point thing, more of a just me talking about it. So if you want to put this on while you do something else, that would be cool. But if not, you can just watch what I've done. So I guess I'll just start with how I got into YouTube, and I'm on my channel right now, so I'm gonna look at my old videos. It says 7 years ago, but on the 15th it will be 8 years ago because it was 2013. Yeah, so 8 years. I thought 8 was a cool round number, so that's why I wanted to make this video when I had 8 years. So the reason why I wanted to make videos is because back then in 2013 I was into drawing stuff, and I love to watch other artists do speed paints on YouTube and to see what they came up with. And my favorite things to watch at the time were like Copic speed paints, which is basically like, you probably know what Copics are if you've been following me, or if you follow any artists on YouTube, they're alcohol-based markers, which basically means that when you color with them, they're extremely smooth compared to Crayola markers or any kind of like regular marker. When you color with regular markers, they're extremely patchy, but Copic markers are very smooth, and those supplies really inspired me to, like, I saw other artists using them in their videos and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get these, but they're so expensive. Like, they're like $8 a marker and it's just kind of insane. And I don't use them anymore, but I have them. I should probably sell them or just like give them away sometime. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my Copics. Or just keep them because they're so nostalgic to me, and it seems kind of strange that an art supply itself, just one single art supply, inspired me so much to draw. I guess I don't wish I did watercolor at the time, but if I had known how much better watercolor was for me as an artist and gouache, like those two supplies and pencil, maybe things would have escalated more quickly, but I did use Copics for a while. And I wanted to film to see the process sped up. I wanted to be like the other YouTubers I was watching, basically, because they would get feedback on their art and they would have like the process of all their drawings, and just sharing it with people seemed really fun to me. I think at the time I was in grade 9, and I did that for a while. Yeah, I also started to do like contests, which was a thing back then, but like I look back and I'm like, that's cringy. I don't really want to... I kind of have a rule to not delete videos, so everything is on my channel from the beginning till now. It's like an archive of just my art progression, and there's some cringe there that I try not to think about, but I don't like to delete things. Unless, I might have like deleted a couple things that were just like super cringy to me. So I posted a lot when I first started. How many videos did I post in a year? Like almost once a week, but kind of more sporadic than that. And then I got into digital art, and that was sort of a turning point. I wouldn't say I'm like a digital artist. Well, I am a digital artist and a traditional artist. I like to do both now, but we'll get into that. YouTube was still just like a side for fun thing. I still wanted to like grow my followers because I liked the idea of that, of just like being known, I guess. Not for the sake of having followers, but because I wanted art to be my career. And I was like also thinking like, YouTube probably isn't gonna happen. Like, I don't know, it's just sort of like a hobby. But when I started doing the contests and all that, I think I went up to like 100 subscribers really, really fast. And I was like, oh my gosh, every time I look at my page, I have a new subscriber. And that was fun for a bit. And I got into digital art. And I remember I was using my mom's laptop, like a super old laptop, and like this like Graphire Wacom tablet that is like super old, and it was my dad's, and like I was just like using whatever I could find. And I wanted the program Paint Tool Sai because the artist that I idolized at the time used Paint Tool Sai. I still use Paint Tool Sai. I don't find the brushes very like easy to make and customize, so I use Procreate mostly, but if I had to paint on the computer, I switched to Sai and mess around with the brushes and try to find something, but Procreate is ideal. Honestly, I kind of want to try Clip Studio Paint though. Like, I'm kind of realizing Sai doesn't really do it for me anymore, but I still love Paint Tool Sai because it's super lightweight. And I remember back then when I first got it, everybody was getting like illegal versions of it because everyone was like, isn't Sai free? And I'm like, it's not free. It's like it was like $40 or something, or $30, or I don't even know what it was. But I remember really wanting it. I didn't have a job because I was like in grade 9 or 10 and I hadn't got a job yet, like a part-time job. Didn't really have money to get it. So I did one of my brother's chores for like a few months and he got it for me, which is like a kind of cool memory of just like having this drawing program that I really, really wanted. And I drew all the time in it, and I spent so much time looking at other art and just like working on my skills and sketching and stuff. And it was around this time where I started to kind of be like, okay, I don't like my style, like my art is looking weird. I went through this really awkward phase of just looking odd. Like, it's so different from what I do now. Because I started drawing anime. I didn't even watch anime. Like, I watched one, like, Tokyo Mew Mew as a kid, and that's it. And I was like, all these other artists I idolized drew anime, so I did too. And then I was like, I don't want to draw anime anymore, so I slowly switched to more of like a semi-realistic kind of style. And I did Copics at the same time. I was like developing both. And it was around this time I posted on DeviantArt when I started doing digital. And I met some fellow artists that were like kind of the same age as me, and we would look at each other's art and like give feedback. And I started to get like really helpful critique and criticism. And this is when I started to get like comfortable with that and getting advice and trying to change things and get better. This was just me realizing like there's so much I want to work on and so much I want to do. And I can't always see all the errors. So like I had some people that would help me to see it, and any comments I got about stuff looking weird or off and like all of that was super helpful, and I was getting comfortable with getting critique. And nowadays it's like totally second nature. It's like the only thing. Like, you need other people to see your art to get better. Like, you, well, not necessarily, but it helps. It speeds up the process. Other people will see things you don't notice, and it's so helpful to get other eyes on your work. It's not a bad thing. It's always positive. Unless people are like, you suck, this is awful. Like, that's not helpful criticism, but being like, oh, the eye is like a little too small, or like, oh, you should increase the contrast, your values are not, it's very monotone, like you should have brighter brights or darker darks, or the color there looks muddy. Like, it's all helpful, and it all contributes to your progression as an artist, which is something that I'll get into that soon, but it's something I'm very excited about in this moment. So yeah, that was like a very, 4 years ago? It's actually 5 years ago, basically. It was a very like experimental phase. I was getting into digital painting a lot. I discovered the artist Loish, and she inspired me so much to just continue to work on my digital painting. And other artists it still inspired me to do traditional stuff, but I was really loving the digital and digital painting. Loish is still such an inspiration to me. I think her work is absolutely incredible. And I have one of her art books, and just reading through that was so inspiring. My style is very different from hers now, but at the time it was more similar, and it was more of an influence, I think. But nowadays I look at all kinds of random stuff, just like anything to inspire me. I'm very more along the cartoony children's book sketchy, scratchy. I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, I've moved away from that style completely. And I just remember like even drawing like that then, it just never felt right. It never felt good. I felt like I was chasing after something I could never quite get, and it felt forced, and I just didn't. I had this idea in my head that you can't do cartoony things, you can't do simple things, but you can, and I'm embracing that now. Just like, it's so much fun to stylize stuff, and now that I know pretty much, I'm not like, you know, an expert on the fundamentals of art, but I've learned a lot in school, and it's so much fun to just like really play with style and draw things however you want, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you draw things. Like, it's your own voice, and yeah, you don't have to fit a certain box. And I know like my art isn't super unique or anything. Like, lots of people draw like me, but I was trying to draw like something that I thought was acceptable, I guess, at the time, because I'm like, this looks more human than like little cartoony characters. But I slowly embraced the cartoony stuff more and more, and now I just kind of do anything, and I'm not too concerned with my style. But back to YouTube itself. It was around 2016, 2017 when my YouTube channel started to, I guess, take off. I started to post twice a week, and I started to look around and see what other people were doing and what was working for other people. And I started to actually make thumbnails and not just use stills from the video. And I slowly got better at that. And that helped a lot, and my channel started to grow pretty fast. That was an exciting time for my channel. Like, I would get randomly my videos would get over 100,000 views, 200,000. I hit 1 million eventually on one like a year or so later. I definitely don't get those kinds of views now. It's more of like a stable, consistent thing. But honestly, like, I don't want my channel to get too big, because it's just too much pressure. And I'm realizing some stuff about YouTube now that I struggled with, I guess. Like, I'll get to that though. There's a lot of things I'm gonna get to, but I need to cover all this first. I started to enjoy doing topic videos and not just filming my art, because in the beginning I really liked to just see the progression of a speed paint, but that started to not be popular anymore, and I also just didn't like doing that. So I would just pick a random topic and just kind of talk about it for a bit and just like see what people thought, and I would just draw while I did it. And I tried some like trends and some challenges, I guess. That was like a whole phase of me trying to do challenges. And those always felt forced, and sometimes they'd get a lot of views, and like that's okay, because it's okay to do that sometimes. I would do tutorials, which I regret because I don't think they're very good. I didn't really know how to draw that well at the time. And even now, I'm like, don't want to do tutorials unless it's something very objective. Like, I don't want to do anatomy tutorial ever, because I'm not an expert in that. But I would do like, you know, here's how I use watercolor, or here's how I use Procreate. I'd do that kind of stuff, but not like how to draw. I don't think I would ever do that kind of tutorial again. Kind of want to delete them, but I also am just going to leave them, because it's kind of like, I don't want people to think I know how to do everything when I don't, and I didn't at the time. And those videos are like 4 years old now, so it just doesn't reflect me currently, but I just hope people realize they're old. And yeah. So yeah, it went well for a long time, and I just kept filming stuff, and I got into a groove for a while, just posting twice a week or once a week, and it was pretty fun. And then I started to kind of like not like doing videos. It started to feel forced, and once I started to embrace doing sketchbook sessions, which is where I would sit down, draw in my sketchbook and talk real time and just post it, I started to have a lot of fun. And that's honestly one of my favorite videos to make, something that is super chill. And I had built up an audience to the point where people actually would want to see that content, so I didn't have to do the clickbaity stuff to get people to watch anymore, because I had people that just wanted to see that stuff. But of course, every once in a while, I would still try to do videos that I think would get a lot of views, because it kind of like helps to keep up with your numbers and boost things. Not that numbers are all I care about, but it's like, you know, it became my career at that point. It is my main source of income. It became my main source of income, like a part-time job. And now it's like a full-time job, not just YouTube, but everything combined. And oh yeah, it was about, when I started school, that was really, really good for me in terms of my art. I learned so much. I drew so much. I was encouraged to test out my style. My thumbnails got a lot better. I just got a lot better at everything. And I started to post less frequently though, because school, and I just started to feel, for about 2 years now, I've just been feeling not inspired by YouTube at all. And that's kind of where I am now, and that's what I probably want to talk about the most. And I'm not going to stop posting on YouTube. I've taken a lot of breaks in 2020. I took a few months off. A couple of times I really didn't post much that year, and it's also, 2020 wasn't a good year for anybody, and it wasn't a good year for me. A lot of bad things happened, and it's hard to tell if that's what contributed to me just like not wanting to make videos. I didn't want to make videos before 2020, but I would still do it and be glad I did when it's done, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is good. It's more of like the filming aspect that I'm like, I just want to like put my head down and draw stuff and not, or I don't mind talking, but it's just like pointing the camera at what you're doing and being aware of the camera there is just like super annoying. But it's like it's a necessary step. It's a necessary evil. Not even evil, but you know what I mean. I want a new camera also. That's a random thought. I don't even film that much though, so it's gonna have to be like probably a year or two if I do upgrade my camera, because I just upgraded my entire setup. That's besides the point. Oh yeah, I also showed my face a couple of times, and that was kind of like weird for me. But I think it was like kind of a nice way to connect with all of you who watch, because a lot of you wanted to know what I looked like, and that doesn't really matter. I don't like filming myself or putting myself on my channel, but I did it a couple times just because I felt like it. It's not like I felt pressured or anything. And I still did like topic videos, and yeah, I'm in my recent videos that I'm actually like kind of proud of. The stuff I wouldn't care if people watched, but like the super old videos, I'm like, don't watch those, please. Just watch the stuff from the last like 2 years or 3 years, maybe not even 3. Yeah, I started posting a lot less, and yeah, 11 months ago, 10 months, 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5 months, and then 1 month. So I took like a 3 or 4 month break, and I've been taking a break lately as well, posting a lot less. YouTube is such a huge part of me though. It's done so much for my career, and I wouldn't be where I am without it, and I want to keep up with it. So when I graduate, I'm sort of like realizing I want to reapproach how I do things, and I didn't know what that meant for the longest time, because I was kind of obsessed with the idea of like my videos, I don't like filming them. I don't know why I don't like filming them. I like creating videos and posting them and sharing them. That's fun. But sitting down and making the video is like, the way I did it and the way I do it is not as enjoyable as it used to be. And I know, like, work isn't always enjoyable. You have to force yourself to do things, of course, and that's normal. But I wanted to find, and I still want to find, something that I just is more sustainable and not, I don't know what exactly it is yet, but I'm realizing I want to take a really relaxed approach to it, and just like a very toned down, I want to spend longer editing the videos and not pumping them out, I guess. So like 2 a month maybe, or like once every week and a half, just to give myself some time to think about each one and just like put my best effort into it, I guess. Like I want to be proud of them, but I also want to randomly do like videos that are just super chill and don't take a long time. So I guess the way I want to approach YouTube is to post whatever I feel like at the time and hope that people like it. And it's honestly might look the same as it always has, but it might feel different to me. And even this video, I'm just like sitting down and talking about my entire YouTube channel over the last 8 years, and it's like enjoyable to just like talk about all of this. But yeah, and I don't have to sit down and like film while I talk and make sure the lighting is good, because sometimes I just get so frustrated with the way my camera films stuff. There's a lot of thoughts I have about YouTube, but it's been really nice to take a break and take a bit of a step back, while also still not taking too much of a break. And I know a lot of you miss my videos, and I graduate school in April, so the summer will probably be when I find a new groove, I hope. I don't know if I'll do YouTube for my entire life, because, things might shift, but at least for now, it's still like a big part of my like brain space. It takes up a big part of my brain. And another thing that helped me feel a little better about YouTube was Patreon, because the income on my Patreon is basically the same as what I get on YouTube. And my shop helps as well. And then I do like Amazon affiliate links and sponsored videos. And all of those help a lot. I don't know if I'm ever going to do sponsored videos again. I probably will, just because it helps me to keep doing what I'm doing. But I also don't like doing it, and it makes me, if I have to do a sponsored video, I dread making that video. So maybe I just never do it again. I try to do sponsored posts on Instagram, or like just not do sponsored stuff. But it's also, I don't know, it's like a moral dilemma. Yeah, and now we're here. Another thing I wanted to say was, so when I started filming, it was more about improving as an artist, and I feel like I've gotten to a point where I can make a good illustration. Like, it's not a struggle for me anymore, and I'm really fast, but there's still so many things that I need to work on and that I want to explore. But it doesn't come from a place of anxiety anymore, or a place of like, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind everybody. It's more of a journey and exploring things and experimenting, and I'm excited to see where my art goes next. And I hope I don't go and get burnt out during this semester, because so far I'm feeling good about it. I'm used to Zoom now. My classes are very focused in on one project per class, so that's exciting. I'm just enjoying not worrying about filming everything, because I just want to make the most of this and just take care of myself, because 2020 was not good. Well, it wasn't like, the most awful thing ever, but 2020 was just like not a good year. 2021 is a lot better, and I'm just enjoying art more. I'm not drawing a ton. I'm not drawing for myself, but art itself is making me excited in a way that it used to, and in a way that it didn't for a really long time. And that's what I'm excited about, and I want to keep posting videos maybe once a month while I'm still in school, or twice, or just like whenever I feel like it is what I'm gonna do for now. And I think a break is just a little bit necessary, and I've already taken a break, and I've said this many times in this video, but like, I'm never gonna just drop off the face of the earth without warning, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna be active on Instagram, so just look at that, and my Patreon if you feel like it, and my shop will open. So this has been a very all about me video. I guess that's the point of my channel though. My channel's about me and my art, and yeah, I'm just excited to draw more and see what I can make with my art, and just see what kind of videos I'm gonna post. The last 8 years have been very interesting. I'm still so I'm numb to it. It feels normal to me, the fact that all of you actually care about what I post and my art and me. When I think about that too hard, I'm like, wait a minute, that's actually kind of crazy, because I'm so used to it and I don't want to take it for granted. So yeah, thanks so much for always commenting and watching. The last 8 years have been kind of crazy, and I'm very grateful for everything, and I'm just excited about the future. So I hope this was interesting to you. I have no idea what the visuals are going to be for this. We'll see. It's going to be very edited. And the day it goes up is my channel anniversary, and the day after Valentine's Day, which I don't really... My very first video was Valentine's Day themed, and I remember I posted it a day late, and I'm like, oh no, it was supposed to be Valentine's Day. But yeah, it's kind of funny that it is the 15th and not the 14th. But I hope you enjoyed this. I have a lot of video ideas bouncing around in my head that I don't know what I'm gonna do. But like I said, I'm excited about the future, and I hope this little walkthrough breakdown of my channel has been interesting to you, especially if you're a new viewer and don't really know about my past with my channel. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this and watching this, and I will see you when I see you.